far as I'm concerned, you should lose your rights of citizenship.
All right, reaction now from a guy who agrees, Republican Congressman Steve King. Congressman, what do you make of this? Chuck Schumer in New York saying no, bad idea.
Well, as I listened to Joe Lieberman about this, I mean, first of all, I believe we have the authority now to revoke the citizenship of the Times Square bomber. That exists today. I think that he has misrepresented himself perhaps to become an American citizen when he took an oath to swear a true allegiance to the United States of America. Then that gives us a foundation to do that. But the question I would ask is, what would this fix? Do we really think that the terrorists that are plotting against us, the al-Qaeda people that might come in here and pose to become naturalized citizens or being associates of terrorists in the United States, are they going to back away if we threaten to take away their citizenship? I think they're going to continue to try to kill Americans regardless. So I'm not sure this is where the center of energy ought to be.
Rights groups say leads to abuse. In other words, suddenly we're judged on the company we keep, and we might not even know if someone's a terrorist, ACLU type, someone saying we lose our citizenship. Bad precedent. What do you say?
Well, that might be the case. I'm not particularly concerned about the bad precedent component of this as so much as I am just the diversion of the focus. And I want to do this focus on real law enforcement and real overt acts, not so much something that's implied or implicit. And so where I'd rather see us go with this and turn our energy into this is that to set up a special court to adjudicate these terrorists. First, I want them off of U.S. shores. I want them in front of the military tribunals. I want them prosecuted by a military court. And I would send them from U.S. shores down to Gitmo rather than close Gitmo. I would use it. It's built for that. And I would want them adjudicated to become terrorists, that if they're terrorists and declared by a special judge in the same way that we do with the FISA court today, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, that overlooks these decisions, so that we could expedite our prosecution and get them all under the same framework. I don't want to see terrorists turned loose in the United States, and I think that's a bigger fear than having some sympathizers that are still citizens of the United States of America if we fail to put them into the definition of Joe Lieberman's.
Are you worried, though, that we do have a lot of citizens of America who might be this type or have gotten through the whole screening process and the naturalized process to become a citizen? I mean, that's quite a laborious process. It's more than just checking off things on a form. I'm not a Nazi. I don't worship Hitler, all of that. I mean, there's a lot to it. And yet this guy got through all the screenings, and it does make you wonder whether there might be a lot more like him, right?
And Neil, you're right on that, and I am very concerned about homegrown terrorists. And when I look at the neighborhoods that would harbor those the homegrown terrorists and the culture that does that, I think that we need to do a lot more of surveillance. I think one of the good lessons that we have are American citizens that were vigilant are the ones that have been able to identify these terrorist plots. The shoe bomber, the underwear bomber, the Times Square bomber, all of them, it was American citizens and their vigilance that actually got in and intercepted this. And so I'm going to ask all the American citizens, look over people's shoulders, let us know. And this has been a message that's been out since September 11th. But I'm very concerned that we are not investigating even the mosques where there's words of hatred being preached, and we ought to do more of that.
Congressman, thank you very much.
Thank you, Neil.
Well, you think I don't have any connections at all to the White House? So why is this still loose?